All right. So I will call to order the July 17th, 2023 Broadband Committee meeting. Tried it. You got to love watches that all of a sudden just pick things up. So I'll go ahead and call that to order. I know David Sadler sent out the agenda earlier today for everybody to review. Does anybody have any amendments that they wish to make to the agenda? All right. Hearing none, we'll go ahead and push forward. We did stop reading the minutes back because you can go to the YouTube video and listen to them and also get a transcript of the meeting. So we've stopped going back and voting and reading through the minutes. So we'll just shoot straight to old business. David, would you like to give us an update on the railroad crossings?
Yes, sir. It's my understanding that CSX has said that they will issue the permits. We're still in that final. It's an ingress range agreement that has to be signed. So we're in that process. I will tell you that that a national association that represents railroads across the country has filed a lawsuit to stop Virginia's law that Virginia just put in place that would force the railroads to act in a more timely manner so that they're not impeding the expansion of broadband. And they filed a lawsuit. So what I'm hoping is that since our permits were well underway prior to that lawsuit, that it's not going to get tied up in there. But I am waiting, and I've requested copies of the railroad crossings information from Joey Schiebel, who is handling that, because we will have to provide the documentation of exactly where we're at to the state with the pre-contract negotiation record that we're working to complete for both providers. Now, the reason why is the railroad crossings is considered a like in kind contribution from Caroline County, and it's required. And it was in the application for both 21 or 22 and 23. But since we were awarded in the 23 cycle, we will have to provide them with documentation of where we're at in the railroad crossing. So I'm in the process of getting that information together. Again, we did receive notification probably about 2 months ago now that we would be getting them. It's just a matter of finishing up the final paperwork. So by the time we meet next month, hopefully, I remain hopeful that we'll have the actual permits in hand. But we'll keep you updated as to how that process is going.
Yeah. Does anybody have any questions or comments on that? All right. We'll look forward to the update next meeting in August on that. Hopefully, like you said, we'll have the contracts in hand or the approvals in hand, so that way we can that won't be anything else that we need to worry about at this point.
One thing, Jason, the reason we started this process so early is we knew it would take a long time, and it appears we'll be right on time when 23 starts.
That's a good thing. It always pays off to plan ahead. So,
and for the record, Mr. Newboard, who deals with this all the time in different jurisdictions, actually across the country, had advised us initially it would take 18 to 24 months at least to get these permits, and he's probably going to be close. So we'll update you as far as where we're at. That's why we were trying to get these out of the way, and that's why I'm very thankful that the board decided to continue forward with the permitting process, even though we weren't awarded back in 22. So all things considered, the timing may work out pretty well.
It's good news. All right. Anything else? If not, we'll jump down to the Starlink update. I guess that'll go to me. What do you think, David? You want to give it?
No, sir. The only update I would have is that again, service service if you have a problem is very poor and very difficult. However, the one situation that I was dealing with was resolved by total replacement of the entire system. It just took 3 or 4 different tries with tech support to convince them of the same. But after replacing the dish, the modem, all of the cables, the network adapter, now everything works. But it's a new system, so
Right.
other than that, go ahead, Jace.
So yeah, I wanted to touch on the service. I've been hearing that they're making some changes to the not service agreement, but the servicing centers to make them more responsive. There's been a lot of feedback. Elon Musk and team have heard a lot of negative feedback and have also had a lot of negative publicity around that. So that is something that they're looking to correct, and they're reevaluating it. I don't have any updates on where they are on the evaluation or what the changes will be, but I know that they are looking to change that. Version 1.5 of the satellites are no longer being launched. That was the latest one that had been launched. The last launch of those type of satellites was this past Friday or Saturday was the last launch. So going forward, all satellites that are launched will be V2s and V2 minis. V2s include laser backbone or backhaul, and they also have more onboard throughput to allow more customers to be online and more downlink capabilities. So going forward, those will be the ones that will be launched. Starlink has been dumping satellites up left and right. They have another one. So they have one scheduled for tonight at 10:20 Eastern Standard Time. And they have another one scheduled for Friday of this week. So that'll be good to go ahead and see those get put up into orbit. And those will be the new versions of the satellite receivers. The one thing that I have seen, there has been a lot of people locally, people at my work, people that I talk to on a regular basis that have signed up for the RV program, and they are getting shipments of the RV. The problem is with RV, it's $150 a month for the service on top of the equipment cost. But the area is continuing to shrink with the dark blue on the Starlink map. So they are about halfway through Pennsylvania. They've covered most of New Jersey, and they're starting to move a little bit further down, and hopefully Virginia will be next, where they start seeing some of those numbers, where we can start requesting the residential ones and opening those up. I still see over top of Caroline County, it shows expanding in 2023. So that will hopefully hold true. Again, as David has said, and that we've always said on here, this is a short-term solution, not a long-term solution. What is coming and what this committee has petitioned for and has been granted, which is the fiber to the premises, which the 2023 VATI that we won, that will be our permanent solution. But Starlink is a good backup or a something to tide you over until the 2023 project comes to your area. Any questions? All right. Hearing none, we'll go ahead and continue on old business. I know, David, you had some 2021 updates.
Yes, sir. As you can see on the screen, um, give me just a second here. Hang on. As you can see on the screen, the banner, um, the banners that you see there, and I'll try to zoom in a little bit so we can all see them, were placed at two convenience sites locations, the one on Devil's Three Jump and the one in Port Royal. Um, those were chosen because they're kind of center of the two project areas. And our hopes are that people from those project areas using the convenience sites, if they haven't been able to know as of yet, if they missed the door knocks and the door hangers and all the other attempts that we've made to notify them, this will let them know that that project is now complete and they're able to sign up. As you see, the fiber fast internet is here, made possible by Breezeline, Caroline County, and the Virginia Department of Housing and Community Development. We are required to make mention of the Department of Housing Community Development in the advertising that we have. So VATI 2021 is complete. At last notice, it was about 229, I believe, people had signed up. Most of those orders had been installed. And being out and about in the community, I do see Breezeline still going to some of these new sites and installing. So it continues to inch up. What we're not seeing is a huge increase like we did initially, because initially we had people that had been waiting for years, and letting it be known that they needed it, were waiting, and so they jumped on right away. Now what we're seeing is a slower pace at new subscribers, and so again, I'd like to throw it out to this committee. If anybody has any ideas about how we can get the word out to the people who have the 21 project already installed and available, please let us know, because as part of the VATI 2021 grant process, the county has committed to attempt to get subscribers signed on. The state wants to see, as much as they can, and of course, the county paid for a contribution for every single household in the VATI 2021 area. So therefore, it benefits us if we paid. If the county has already invested that money for the house, we need to try to figure out a way to at least let those people know that it is available. Now, getting the word out that the project is complete and letting everybody know that it's complete so they can sign up is part of it. I think what you're going to hear about more in the upcoming months is the program called LECAP, and also the assistance programs. LECAP now will not. LECAP is for line extension. That's if you live in an existing Comcast or Breezeline area, not related to this project. But there is assistance available to help you get connected if you cannot afford the $8,000 or $9,000 that you're being quoted by Breezeline to connect. Because again, connections in the existing project areas were not covered under VATI 2021. And if you're in an existing area, they're not going to be covered by VATI 2023 either, because, again, the state doesn't subsidize connections in an area that's already served. So it's going to be real important. And as a committee, we will probably need to look at that. Is there a way that we can try to help those people that are in existing areas that cannot afford to connect? But part of our universal coverage would be to help those people figure a solution as well if we can.
I've got my hand up. I think the first thing, if you go back to that slide or that picture, what we should probably do is create another sign that lists all of the special programs that give you basically free internet. I know BreezeLine has one, Comcast does, and I'm sure Verizon does. But that's probably something a lot of people are thinking, oh, the internet is finally here, but I know it's $100 a month. I can't really afford that. But there is that minimum connection of $30 and you get a $30 credit. So it's basically free internet, and we need to advertise that as much as possible.
That's a good point, Mr. Thomas. And we can look at if we could find, of course, this committee itself doesn't have any funding, but if we can develop some banners, we could probably figure out a way to get it funded to do our own banner that we could put near this.
So that's a BreezeLine banner?
BreezeLine provided these.
Okay. Well, maybe the county can help BreezeLine put up a couple that would talk about their, discount program, and the same for Comcast.
Yeah, and it may be a situation. You can't tell a lot by this video, but this is actually a 4x8 banner, so it's a large banner.
Mm-hmm.
Looks really nice, and they even have the QR code there. So if you scan that QR code with your smartphone, it'll take you directly to the VATI 2021 page where you can sign up from there. So I could work with BreezeLine Marketing to see if they'd be interested in doing a next generation of this poster or this banner, so that we can get those up. With the size being as large as it is, it may be a situation where this one would need to come down somewhere in the near future. I would imagine they'll probably fade out anyway and need to be replaced. Maybe Gen 2 can be one with the talking about the assistance programs that could basically get a lot of people free internet if they have a child that's in Caroline County Public Schools.
Right.
Thanks to the schools and their classification with the Department of Agriculture. I believe that's right, isn't it, Joey? Isn't it the department that handles that?
Yeah, I think it's based on the amount of free lunches that the county has.
Yeah, so thanks to the work of the schools, they've done their portion of the work. Now we just need to get the word out that if you have a child in Caroline County Public Schools, you can qualify for a $30 a month credit. All the companies, Comcast, BreezeLine, even Verizon that's coming, offer programs at the $30 level. So basically, you can get free or very low cost. Some of the other counties in 21 that were signing up people with that minimum package, I think when it was all said and done, their bill for internet was $1 or $2 a month, which covers just a few additional charges that were not covered by the grant. So just know that there are options. And that's what, and especially with VATI 2021 and existing customers that live in existing areas that just cannot afford to connect, there are options. And feel free to reach out to us off the county website on the broadband inquiry page, and we will work to make sure you're aware of what options are available to you. While we're talking about that broadband inquiry page, it's very active. A good portion of my day and a good portion of my weeks now are responding to inquiries, which is good because, again, that's a requirement of VATI 2021 and VATI 2023 is that the county remain engaged with the citizens to make sure that they're aware of their options. So it's part of our requirements, and it's a service that we're that I'm, happy to be able to provide. And thanks to the support of the Board of Supervisors, we're able to provide it to the citizens in the county. I think that's it for 21,
Um,
Jason.
can I share one thing on 2021? Um, I just asked to share my screen.
Hang on just a second.
I just want to, I had somebody reach out to me that had local internet or that had internet installed recently, fiber optic cable, and they lost internet all of a sudden in the middle of the day.
So
And
you should be able to share now.
try and share. I want to share that one. So one thing that this person actually, you should be seeing like a picture of the fiber optic cable inside of the NID on the outside of the house. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. So the one thing this person actually contacted me, and we were talking about the connection that they had lost it, and BreezeLine came out and took a look at it. This happened in the middle of the day, no lightning storms, nothing like that. I had them send me a picture, and one of the first things that I noticed was the mouse droppings that were inside. And BreezeLine said their cable had been cut. And what I had actually identified, or what we determined, was a mouse actually chewed through the fiber optic cable. So we were originally, what was causing it? Lightning strike. Well, obviously, lightning won't come back over fiber optic cable. How did this get cut? And what we looked at was the amount of spacing here on this installation. And this is the normal fiber optic installation, but there is a tube that comes in from underground that the fiber optic cable runs in. As you can tell how small this is due to this, compared to what the tubing is, there's a lot of extra space out here. And so I actually recommended to the person on this installation to help keep anything like this happening, because we are going to have problems with this in a rural area. There's going to be field mouse or field mice. There's going to be things that are going to try and come in here. And of course, they like to chew on anything there is out there. Is to put some sort of sealant foam around here that's around the outside of this cable to help keep any rodents or anything from climbing in here. As you can see, there's, stink bugs and things like that that aren't going to bother it. But obviously you can see the mouse where it decided to chew on these, the fiber optic cable. So just keep that in mind. Anybody that currently has it installed at their house, you might want to take a look, maybe make sure it's sealed up good around the bottom of the box, that a mouse can't get into it or anything like that. But just keep that in mind that we normally don't have this problem with telephone cables, because where they run in and they are much larger, or the cable's a little bit bigger, but the hole where it comes into is really sealed up. This right here has a little bit more space, so just be aware of that and keep that in mind going forward. So that's just all I really wanted to touch on, David, just to bring that up.
Jason, if you could send me, I know you sent it to my phone, but if you could just resend me this particular photo
Okay.
To my county email address if possible.
Okay.
And I'll address that with the project manager for 2021. Even though the project's done and closed out, we still have a set meeting on during the week that I can discuss that with him, so he can go through the proper channels to get it to their installers.
Okay.
The one thing that I am concerned is that as these projects go and we start getting really busy with the 2 installations, we don't want to give the false sense of security to the citizens that we're their repair service, or we'll handle service related inquiries from the community, because that'll need to go through the normal channels through the companies and allow them. But I'll pass this on to the project manager for 21, who's also the project manager for 23, so they can bring that to the installer's attention, because there is a rubber insert that goes in that window as well that was not installed in that installation. I was actually there with him when he installed that, and I didn't catch it at the time, so it'd probably be good for us to let them know about that, so hopefully they can avoid that in the future as we go towards the larger installs. But
Okay.
that installer was, in talking with him, also the installer that did a lot of the 21 in the Port Royal area, especially. So we may see some more of this. So I will make Breezeline aware.
Okay. It should be in your county inbox in a few minutes.
All right, thank you, sir.
All right. So, any questions on 2021? All right. And hearing none, we'll go ahead and jump to 2023 update. You want to take that, David?
It's on mute.
Goes.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Thomas. I'm still trying to figure out how to use Zoom after how many years of COVID? Uh,
3.
it just seems like it's been forever. But um, I had mentioned earlier that we're getting a lot of inquiries on the inquiry form. Jason's talked to me about this. He's getting questions as well. Mr. Thomas, I think, and several of the board members have also questioned. Everybody wants to know when. So we want to make sure we bring everybody up to date. What we're in right now is and kind of the reason why we didn't bring this up last month, because as of last month's scheduled meeting, there hadn't been a lot of activity from the award. The state was in the process of getting all the necessary documents built and ready to go out. And right about the time of last month's meeting, we had our pre-contract negotiation record meeting with both Verizon and with Breezeline. So we had a portion of that meeting was we held together with both parties, because the information was kind of just general information that everybody needed to know. And then we had a breakout meeting with each of the two partners separately, and discussed more of the proprietary information. So we did have that pre-contract negotiation record meeting right around I think the 15th or 16th of June. Now, why is that important? Because as of that date, the clock started the first of many clocks. So we are now in a period of time where we have 90 days to finish all of the required documents for each of two parties. So Jason was asking me earlier today, how come I didn't call them as much? And it's because every minute of every day right now is trying to get these contract negotiation records together. What will end up happening is there are multiple forms that we have to fill out and file with the state through their CAMS system, and get all of those submitted. In addition to that, we have a memorandum of agreement between us and Breezeline, and a memorandum of agreement between us and Verizon. So we're working on two separate contracts with two separate companies with two separate thoughts of how much information should be included in that contract. The Breezeline contract, quite frankly, is going to be a lot easier because they're basing that on the 21 contract that we had in place. So there shouldn't be a lot that either attorney disagrees with. So we're hoping that's going to be fairly straightforward. This being the first year that Verizon has participated in VATI, their expectations of what needs to be in that is quite different. A 2-page contract with Breezeline, a 21-page contract with Verizon. That's how different. So we've received those. We've marked them up. We've passed them around to county staff that's listed in the management group, and gotten their input. They are now being reviewed by our attorneys. Once they do, we'll come back, present them to the two companies to see if their attorneys have any further comment. But we're just know that we are under a 90-day clock. So once we have to have that memorandum of agreement signed by both parties. So Mr. Thomas, more than likely, I would say by the second. How many meetings do you have in August? Is it 2?
Just one.
Just one? So we'll have to figure out how we'll get that, because I don't, hopefully if we can get it in time to get it on that first meeting, we will. If not, we may end up having to figure out, because the time frame will actually, I think it's into September, but
we do have a work session for transportation later on in August, so we could do it then too. That has to be.
Yeah, it may end up being that, or a special vote or something taken. But we do have to have both contracts approved by the board of supervisors, and completed and uploaded into CAMS prior to 90 days. What happens if we don't? Well, according to the state, if we don't have all that information updated, completed, and updated and uploaded to CAMS, then they have the right to withdraw the grant. So it's a pretty heavy lift, and it's one that I'm working on pretty much every free moment to try to to get as much of this done as quickly as possible, because 90 days, a lot of people would say, well, that's a delay of 90 days, but it's not. It's a tremendous amount of paperwork, agreements, contracts. So once all those get submitted and uploaded into CAMS, then DHCD will come out with a contract that will be between DHCD, Commonwealth of Virginia, and Caroline County. So the individual providers aren't actually under contract with the state. They will submit their bills to us. We will submit them to the state. The state will reimburse us the covered amount by the grant, send it back to us, and then we have to disperse that money to the individual companies. So it's going to be a lot of work over the next 3 years. And speaking of 3 years, the next big thing that we get on the broadband inquiry form is, okay, you got the money, and I can't tell you how many times I see, well, you got millions of dollars. When am I going to get internet? So what'll happen is the contract negotiation records have started. The meetings have started. We're in that negotiation phase. One of the first steps to those meetings or that phase of the contract is that we submitted a prior authorization letter request from Caroline County to the state. In that, the state has agreed to start paying for design, engineering, walkout, any footwork that can be done, what they call soft cost, as well as some of the materials that were ordered ahead of time to try to avoid delays. So the companies now, as of that date or as of the date of the approval of that pre-authorization letter, can now start working. So both companies have been notified. They're free to start their walkout design and engineering ahead of a contract being approved. So hopefully, while this 90-day delay, while there's no actual construction going on, both companies are using this time to start planning. Once they get through the design, the walkout, the engineering part of the phase, then they will set their own construction timelines for each project separately. At that point, we'll have a little bit better idea as to when we can expect certain areas to start seeing activity. Verizon has presented during their response to our request for a partner. they've given us some rough ideas as to the phasing of that project. It is a much smaller project. The Verizon side of the county, which according to the state is called Caroline West, um, will actually go quicker. It's a smaller project area with fewer homes, fewer miles to be built. So that will fall under the 18-month deadline. So from the date that we sign a contract, that project will be complete in 18 months. So hopefully that'll go very quick. Now, because of the size of Caroline East, the breeze line portion of it, and because of the fact that it also included areas that were covered under RDOF, that project will be a 3-year project. So 3 years from when we sign the contract, it must be complete. Now, if we have delays because of material shortages or delays that just can't be avoided, then we have to go back to the state and apply for an extension. So as of right now, we can say if you're Caroline West, you're looking at about 18 months from the day we sign the contract. If you're Caroline East, so if you're east of 95 and you're in an unserved area, then you're looking at about 3 years from the date we sign the contract, the work will be complete. Now, both partners have said that they would not necessarily look to complete an entire phase of their project before they start turning up customers. So just because it's 3 years or 18 months, we could start seeing customers in the areas be turned on much sooner than the end of the final project. So there's going to be some customers turned on, hopefully, shortly after the construction begins. As of right now, because design and engineering has not been completed, we have no idea, not even a rough idea of what their timelines are going to be. But as we go on, we urge the customers or residents of the county that are interested in when they're going to get their internet to stay tuned to this channel. Our regular monthly meetings from here on out will continue to update you with the very latest information that we have. And so as we get that information from the partners, we'll have a better idea, and we'll relay it to you through this format as well as on the county website. So just stay tuned. We are definitely making progress and moving forward. However, at this point, we don't have a timeline, not even a rough timeline, other than it's 18 months for Caroline West, 3 years for Caroline East, and that's after the contract is signed, which will probably be, I would say, September, October by the time we get the contract from DHCD. It's reviewed by our attorneys. We sign off. If we make any changes, it has to go back. The Attorney General has to sign off on behalf of the state. And at that point, the 18-month and the 3-year clock starts. And that's all I have for 23, sir.
All right. Anybody have any questions or follow up to that?
It's important to remember what he just said.
Agreed. That was some good information, David. I appreciate you going into as much detail as you did. And as you said, everybody keep tuning back into here, into this channel every month. Or, I know we skipped 1 month from having a update, but there really wasn't a whole lot of updates to give at that time. But as we have these meetings, definitely follow this channel.
Yeah, we would like for you to like and share and subscribe while you're at it, because this is going to be the quickest way to get the official information. Because I can assure you that I'll be straightforward and open with the information that we're receiving from both the state as well as both partners. So it'll definitely be accurate, and I'm under a mandate from Mr. Thomas and his group to be open about everything. So what we know, you guys will know. So again, we urge you just to stay tuned.
And David, I will make myself available for any of those meetings that you need to have a member of the board or the chairman of the board to be there.
Also, Mr. Thomas, just know I know that since COVID is kind of not as active as it was, and we're out of the pandemic, I've noticed that some of the board members are going back to their constituent meetings. Just
Yeah,
know that we as a committee remain open and willing to help you guys out. If you need us at a constituents meeting, just let us know, and we'll be glad to come out and answer any questions that we can.
okay, great. That's right about board members restarting their constituent meetings. I plan to do one myself shortly.
All right. Thank you, sir.
Okay. All right. So now we'll go to the annual review of plan for universal coverage. I know you wanted to bring this up, David, because this is part of our 2021 and 2023 requirements or things that we set in our, when we applied for the grant. So did you want to take that away?
Yes, sir. So the current plan for universal coverage that we are under was adopted in August of 2022. As with any plan or any policy or procedure, it needs to be reviewed most often, or most likely reviewed annually. So it's time for us for our annual review to look at the 2022 plan for universal coverage and update it to address the current situation. For example, in our current plan for universal coverage, we mentioned the fact that we were unsuccessful in 22 and that we had applied for 2023. So now we need to update that plan to mention the fact that we have received that grant and how we're going to use it. One question that I have for Mr. Thomas, and not to put you on the spot, sir, but I mean it's public information now that there's some data center projects at least looking at Caroline and file paperwork, and that's I guess public information now, correct?
That is correct.
What I really see us having a need for is a pot of money that could be used to help people who are in current provider territories connect, with some of the connection fees to extend the lines. Now, there is the lead cap program will assist residents that meet the income guidelines. But I am seeing again, and this is a concern, and you were with us at the meeting down in Richmond where I've raised the concern that there's a lot of houses that will not meet the income guidelines that are currently in place, but still cannot afford the $8 or $9 or $10,000 to extend the line to their house. So I didn't know if it's a situation where maybe and I know you can't you can't ask for proffers, but I mean that would be an ideal thing for, say, a technology company to proffer to help connect people that are having issues. How do you feel about that?
Well, we have mentioned that very idea to several people, I guess prospects, in that if you're coming to the area, maybe you can help the county out in that sense. So while we're negotiating those sort of things, probably not best to discuss it, but we are looking at it to say the least.
So that, hopefully, I do see us needing as a committee to look at that. I live in a Comcast area. I make over X number of dollars and cannot qualify for LECAP, but I can't afford, to connect. What can I do? And so I think as a committee, what I wanted to do was throw this out there tonight so that you guys could be thinking about this. After tonight's meeting, I will send you out to all of the members a copy of our current plan for universal coverage. Look that over, mark it up, make suggestions, send it back to me. And then hopefully myself, maybe, and Jason Barlow and Jason Jacobus can get together prior to the next meeting and be able to present a proposed updated plan for universal coverage. That would be my my goal, and that would be, to, if we can get it written and approved at the next meeting, then that would put us right in line with the annual review, and also this plan for universal coverage, once we add the VATI 2023, hopefully will remain kind of unchanged for a while, because that will address, most of what we're trying to address. So although it'll be a fairly significant change this time, hopefully that will change less from here on out. All right, Jason.
All right. Anybody have any follow-up on that? All right. Hearing none, we'll move to new business. We do not have anything listed inside of the new business. We called for amendments earlier, but if anybody has anything they want to discuss new business based on what we've talked about, bring it up now. Does anybody have anything? All right. Hearing none, the date calculated for the next meeting would be August 21st, 2023 at 7 p.m. Any objections to that? Everybody good with that?
Sounds good to me.
Yeah, sounds good to me.
All right. So that's when we'll meet again. Hopefully we'll have some new updates on the 2023 and railroad crossings and so forth. I think at this point, if everybody's good, we will call for adjournment.
Okay, quick question for Joey. Are you in school, or the schools are in Monday through Thursday, right?
That is correct. Next week's the last week.
Okay, I need to touch base with you about some other things. I'll give you a call this week. Thank you.
Yeah. Make sure it's this week, because I won't be there next week.
Okay.
Thank you.
Joey, thanks again for you guys doing the heavy lifting as far as getting that through, I guess, USDA. Again, that's a huge benefit that you guys have done the groundwork to help us out with that. So if you could please pass that along, that at least myself and this committee is definitely appreciative of the work that you guys have done.
Sure. No problem. Thank you.
All right.
Mr.
All right.
Chairman, I would move that we adjourn.
All right.
Second.
All right. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, and goodbye.
All right. We will see everybody on the next on August 21st at 7 p.m. Thank you for all your time.
Have a good evening.
Thank you.